Okay? Now, sometimes people say it's too expensive when they mean can't afford it. Like, they don't, like, actually say the words, you know, the way they're supposed to be said all the time. You have to understand, what am I handling, okay? Are they saying it's not worth it, or are they saying, you know, I don't have the money? Because, again, and it's very important that you handle the right question. Because if I said, where'd you buy that shirt? And you said, I'm 20 years old. That's an answer, okay? But that's not the answer to my question. So for example, if they say too expensive, okay, and then, let's say they say I can't afford it, but they mean it's too expensive. Like they go, I can't see myself spending $945 a month. That doesn't make sense. I have the money, and you go, well, we have smaller sets. Is that an answer to that question?
No.
No. And so because then smaller sets. So if I don't think the homemaker is worth $945, I don't think a paring knife is worth $45. Does that make sense? So dropping down is not going to be the proper answer for that particular question. And are you going to annoy the customer as you're answering the wrong question?
No.
Where'd you buy the shirt? My shoe size is 8. Where'd you buy the shirt? I live over on Flatbush Avenue. Where'd you buy the shirt? Okay, like, the person's going to be like, what? I'm asking this question. You keep giving me different answers, okay? You're pissing me off now, all right? So the point is that make sure you're answering the right question. Okay, so if a customer says too expensive or can't afford it, what you do, just to tell you how to handle it afterwards, is you always have to ask them that question. Just ask them. Okay, so write this down. Just ask them this question. So they say I can't afford it, or they say I'm too expensive. I go, Mrs. Jones. So I'll do it, and then you can write down the notes however you want to. I go, Mrs. Jones. So just so I understand what you're saying. Okay. I go, okay. I pause. I go, so Mrs. Jones, just so I understand what you're saying, you like the product. So number one, you like it. You want to get it, but, so you like the product, you want to get it, but, and then you just repeat what they said. Okay, you should actually do it for all of them. You like the product, you want to get it, but you want to ask your husband. You like the product, you want to get it, it's just right now you don't have $945 to spend. Because you got this bill, you got this bill, you got that bill. Yes, you like the product, you want to get it, but it's just that you don't really feel it's worth $945. Is that correct? Okay? So what that does is that's what's called clarifying the objection. Okay? So just to make sure that you're answering the right thing. Not to mention, clarifying the objection is really important. You want to put a star next to this stuff. Clarifying the objection is really important because what this does for the customer is it lets them know that you listen to them. Right? Okay? So because it opens them up. Because here's the best way to tell people that you listen to them. You just repeat what they said. Okay? Because then there's no way you could listen there's no way you could repeat it unless you heard them, right? And so if you tell the customer, so Mrs. Jones, so the customer says, yeah, I'd love to get it, but right now we got the car payment. We just got back from vacation. We don't have a lot of money right now, and it's just a really tough time for us. And I'll go, okay, so all right. Well, Mr. Jones, just so I can be sure of what you're saying, you like the products and you want to get them. But right now you just got back from vacation. You have the car payment due, and it's just right now is not a good time for you to spend $945. Is that correct? Yeah. Thank you for listening. Okay. Whereas most reps would go, okay, well we have these payment plans where you can drop it down, and they're like, you didn't even listen to me. Does that make sense? Okay. And now they're closed-minded. So they're like, you're not listening to me. Why should I listen to you? Right? And then anybody have this happen to them during their demonstration? Like they said I can't afford it or something, and you were like, well, we got smaller sets. And they're like, no, I can't afford it. You're like, but the gallon's only this. No, I can't afford it. Yeah, but so you can get pieces. I can't afford it. Yeah, but the cutting board's only $11. I can't afford it. Okay, well I'll give it to you for free. No, I can't afford it. I can't afford it. Okay? And they just kind of blocked you off and they're like, I can't afford it, land. Right? Did anybody have that happen? Okay, where you're trying to explain it to them, they just weren't listening at all. Okay? Well, that's because you didn't take the time to listen to them. So if you don't listen to them, why should they take the time to listen to you? Does that make sense? Right? So you got to take the time to clarify and open them up first to listening to you, and you do that by telling them, hey, I'm listening to you, I hear what you're saying, and let me see if I can find a solution for you, as opposed to just giving them solutions. People don't want you to give them solutions. Remember, people don't want to buy stuff. People don't want to be sold anything. All right? That's why they fight you. Okay? Because they feel like, well, if they sell me, I lose, and nobody likes to lose. Okay? So the point is, they don't want to be sold stuff. They like to buy things. Okay? And if you're helping them find something that fits in their budget because they want to buy it, that's totally different than you selling something to them. And the best way to get on their side is to listen to them and see if you're working out the problem. Okay? So anyway, that's a whole other talk. Let's talk about how to handle them before you even get these. Okay? So can't afford it. Okay? And here's what you have to understand. Now you know the psychology of these two things. Can't afford it and too expensive have nothing to do with money. Zero. They have nothing to do with money at all. If you're seeing a married couple with a home and kids, what's a grocery bill cost? $200-300 a month?
Yeah.
A week.
A week.
A week, okay? Every week they spend that money on food, okay? So the point is guys understand that if they really wanted it, like if there was like if they had no other choice but to buy it, could they come up with the money?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So understand it has nothing to do with money. Can't afford it is again this is what's called a desire issue. I don't want it bad enough. Too expensive is a value issue. I don't think it's worth it. There's nothing to do with money on either case. And even if they couldn't come up with the $200 for the homemaker, they could come up with $50. They could come up with $72 for a studio set. Okay? So, can't afford it is not a reason for someone not to buy Cutco. It's just that there's not enough desire. So, let's show you how to handle these before they come up. Can't afford it. Let's start off with that one. Alright? So, I'll teach you a little psychology, and then I'll give you a little verbology. Verbiage. Okay? Verbology on this word. So, first of all, can't afford it is a desire issue. You have to raise desire, okay? I'll show you that it's a desire issue. Anybody ever see something, say to yourself, I can't afford that, and then just buy it anyway? Okay? Why'd you do it? Because you want it. Okay? When people want things, they buy it, okay? Desire. Alright? So how do you raise a customer's desire for our product? A couple things you can do. Number one is cut food. How many of you cut food on your demo? Okay? Could you tell the difference? Could you tell the customers really liked cutting the food? They're like, whoa, okay? See, cutting rope and leather is nice, but people don't need to cut rope and leather, okay? You cut the rope, they're like, great, if I have to cut some rope, I'll give you a call. Okay? But they don't eat rope and leather. Nobody makes penny sandwiches, right? So, notice how excited they are about the shears at the beginning, and at the end they could care less? Okay? It's like, well, what happened? Okay? Well, because people, that's not something they desire. It's just a cool trick. Okay? But I don't need that. I don't have a lot of pennies I need to cut up. You know why people buy the shears? When you tell them, oh, this is good for, gardening. This is good for trimming stuff. This is good for opening those plastic packages that suck, okay, that you can never open, okay? They're great for, cutting chicken and disjointing chicken. That's when people are like, oh, okay, I can see this use. Not cutting pennies. Cutting pennies is cool. It's interesting, but it's not desirable. There's a difference between interesting and desirable. Okay, and so you have to make it desirable. When you cut food, every time you cut food, what the customer, especially the food they have, I don't bring my own food. Okay, the only time I bring food is on the phone. I would say, Mrs. Jones, by the way, thank you so much for setting up this appointment. Hey, what's your favorite fruit? I used to ask them what's their favorite fruit, and they would go, oh, mango or something, or whatever their favorite fruit was. Okay, and then I would get the fruit. I would write it down next to their name, and I would get the fruit, bring it to their house, because that's their favorite fruit. Guess what they probably eat every once in a while? That fruit, okay? So then I bring that fruit, and they're like, oh, you brought my fruit. All right, and they're all excited. I start building rapport, and now I cut that fruit with our knives and their knives. They're like, oh my gosh, this is beneficial, okay? You want to sell butcher knives? Get a butcher knife and cut a watermelon, okay? It's awesome. Thing just falls apart. It's awesome, all right? So anyway, cut food, all right? You got to cut food on every single demo. You got to peel. You got to have the customer peel something. I used to bring carrots every demo. Now I would bring carrot and a piece and whatever their favorite fruit was. That's what I brought to every demo. And I would go, Miss Jones, just go peel it, or a cucumber, either one. Okay? So have them peel some stuff, especially if they have potatoes. You go, Miss Jones, do you have a potato? Do you ever make potatoes? Lots of people make potatoes. Get a potato and just go, hey, just try this peeler. Oh my goodness, okay? This is going to save you so much time. That's what you got to do. That creates desire. I want this thing. All right? Second way to create desire is testimonials or personal stories. Testimonials, personal stories. This is really strong. Okay? Testimonials and personal stories. Have you guys used your own Cutco? Like, did you cut some stuff up yourself? Isn't it cool? Don't you just cut stuff and go, wow. Okay? Like, that's cool. Share that with your customer. If you haven't done that yet, go make a sandwich today. Cut the crust off of bread, okay? It's really cool, all right? So it's like, wow, you take these bread, you can slice it straight across, all right? And so you got to do that stuff. So when you share customers, you go, Miss Jones, I was using this one the other day for making a sandwich. It's great, okay? Or Mary Smith. Now, some of you, all of you had sales already. You go and tell your customers, you go, Mary just bought this set. Here's the set. Especially when I sold my first homemaker, I was like, well, here's the set that Miss Margie got. They don't know who Miss Margie is. They're like, it's just a name, okay? But they're like, oh, Miss Margie got it. I feel good, okay? They just don't want to be the only freaks that spend $900, okay? People want to be like other people. So if they feel like all these other people are doing it, then it's okay to do it. If you don't talk like, by the way, a tip of the ultra elite in our company, what do they do all the time? All they do is they get into a neighborhood, they get the everyone, they get the circle of friends going, and they just sell one set to one of the people. They're like, oh, this is the one that Susie bought, okay? That's what I used to do with my happy customer list. I finally found